everybody, how are you? Welcome back. It is so good to see all of you once again. Now, for our project, we are going to make something called primary colored monsters. And we're going to make my cute little guy right here. Now, your monster, remember, is in your imagination. When we do this, we're going to be working with paint. But don't worry, if you don't have paint at home, you can use crayons, markers, or colored pencils and kind of just scribble around on your paper. I'm going to be using the paint and show you how the colors mix up. If you choose to use those other materials, crayons, markers, or colored pencils, your colors will still mix up because we are only using, remember, the primary colors. Primary colors are red, yellow, and blue, and they are our three most important colors because they make up all the other colors in the rainbow. So we're going to get started with this and use our imagination and turn it into our little monster. Okay, so in order to get started with our primary colored monster, the first thing you need to do is have your white piece of paper. Now, I suggest that you hold it horizontally, which is more like side to side, and I need you to fold this paper in half. Okay, you want to line up your corners, corner to corner, and slide your hand down and make sure you get a nice fold in the middle. Now, what you're going to do is take your paint, the yellow, the red, and the blue. You can scoop it out. I don't have my squeeze bottle, so I'm going to use a fork. You can use anything that you have at home in order to drip the paint on your paper. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to kind of swirl it around. And don't splash it. Just be careful. If you are doing this at home, cover your table. Make sure you're not going to be making a mess, okay? So I'm going to take my paint, and you want to put the color on top. So you want to make sure that these colors will mix. So don't be afraid to overlap it and put some color in different areas on your paper, but also on top of one another so then they could mix up. And now I'm going to take my yellow. Actually, I might pour my yellow out. So again, you could drip it, you could take utensils at home, but you really don't want to use a paintbrush by brushing it on your paper. You kind of want to get these drips and blobs, okay, like so. So I'm going to do this and put some drips of the yellow. I don't want to get my yellow paint dirty. So I'm going to do it just like this and spread it around on one side of the paper. Okay, now after you go and have your paint on one side of the paper, the other side is blank. Well, what we're going to do is something called creating symmetry. Symmetry means it's the same on both sides. So whatever I have on this side, it's going to transfer over to the other side of the paper when I close it and press it down. This is also a nice way of painting without getting dirty or messy. So I know that would be a good thing at home, that we are not getting our area dirty at all. So I am closing my paper and I am simply rubbing around now. I'm taking my fingers, and when you do this up close, I don't think you can really see this in my video, but you can see it a little bit. As I push and add the pressure with my fingers, I am pushing that paint around and I could see the paint blobs moving. Just be careful that you don't press it too hard where it comes squishing out the top or the bottom or the sides. You don't want to go too close to your edge, but you definitely want to make sure that you rub the paint and have it along that fold. You want the body to look all connected. You don't want it to be two separate parts. So take your finger, press it around, go on a diagonal. You could get some interesting, depending how you applied your paint, you could get some interesting little shapes there or designs. And I am going to, again, push it out in all different ways. Oh, see, I'm getting a little too close to the edge there. Once you have moved it all around your paper and you think you've mixed it up well enough, I want you to very carefully then open. Wow. And you are going to get all these colors mixed around. Now, how cool does this look? I love doing this project with paint for this reason. not only do you see your primary colors mixing, so you're going to look carefully and see, it depends again how you applied your paint. I have a small area of green here where the blue and the yellow mixed up. I have a lot of orange because my red and my yellow mixed up in order to make orange. And then I do have areas of purple where the blue and the red mixed up. I know if I leave it like this actually kind of looks like a monster in and of itself. That kind of looks like eyes to me. That looks like the mouth in the middle. That looks like the feet. But this is the really cool thing about this as well. This is an abstract shape. I know we've talked about shapes before. So with the abstract shape, you might see it a certain way when you hold it, you know, the original way you painted it. But what if you turn it around? If I turn it around this way, that kind of looks like those can be eyes that are really far apart. That kind of looks like a face in the middle, or I would add a mouth. So there's so many different ways. Before you get set on one certain way of looking at it, try taking your paper and turning it. Does it look interesting when you turn it around upside down or the right side up? There is no right or wrong as to the way you want to hold your paper. With an abstract shape, it could be any way you want. So again, this is what I'm going to do. I might keep it this way for my monster. And now I need to let this dry before I can move on and do the next part, which will be cutting it out. I'm going to show you how to cut it out. And you want to glue it down to a background paper. Now again, if you don't have background paper, you don't have a different color that you want to cut this out and glue it down to, you don't have to. But again, it's really good to practice your cutting and mounting. Mounting is gluing it to that background paper, and it just gives it a different kind of look and feel. After we get done with cutting and mounting it, then we will add the face. But once again, you can't move on until this is totally dry. So I'll show you that next part coming up. Okay, while I'm waiting for my paint to dry, I just wanted to show those of you who might be using crayons, colored pencils, or markers at home, how to do it with that material. I'm going to just use crayons though for now. So again, you can take your white paper, you can fold it in half, just again, so you have a point of reference where you can have symmetry, same on both sides. You can start off with your, any of the colors really, and you can try, you're going to have to try your very best now to create whatever you do on one side to create it the same on the other. So again, you're going to scribble around and it depends on the pressure. So you could take your crayon if you want to make and go in circles. Okay, and you want to kind of scribble it around this way. Maybe you want your monster to have arms that come up. But again, there is no right or wrong. You don't have to have it a certain way. I know it's kind of looking like a rabbit, but I don't know. All right, so I'm going to go around and I'm going to play around with adding my colors. So now I'm going to take my yellow and I'm going to go on top of the red. I'm not going to do it for the entire thing, otherwise it'll all be orange. And I want different colors in different spots. So you could see as the red and the yellow mix up, you get that orangey kind of color. So again, it depends how hard you press with your crayons. You need to go back over it, and you can have layers in order to have these other colors shine through, come through. Okay, if we go something like that. And then I would have to keep going back and forth. So if you are using crayons or colored pencils, it is a lot of back and forth. I would have to take my blue, and when the blue overlaps the red, I would get that purple area. So again, if you're doing it on one side, you have to make sure it's the same on the other. And mix it around like that. And again, I would have to put red on top because without using paint, you really have to do a lot of back and forth in order to blend the colors. So you could go around and do that. And then actually I should have had a spot to do my, I'm going to just come across this way with my yellow. So then I can put my yellow and my blue, and the yellow and the blue make that green. So when I do this, I like starting with my lighter color first, the yellow or the red, and then I go with the darker color. And then I go back with the lighter color once again to mix it up and blend it together. So again, boys and girls, you could do something like this, scribble it around. There's no right or wrong. You could go anyway. You don't like the way, I don't really like the way this is looking. So you know what? I'm going to scribble on top and change it. I'm going to go and make this more of a boxy kind of feel. So as you do this, that's, again, the great thing about abstract shapes. You could go in and change it any way you want and create how you want to. So I just wanted to give you an idea of what you would be doing if you're using a different material other than paint, the crayons, markers, or colored pencils. So I'll continue with this and show you my finished product in a bit. Okay, so you see I added a little bit more to my crayon monster here, a primary color monster, but I am still going to also cut this out as well. The same I'm going to do for my painted one. I need you to go and cut around. Now you just want to leave a little bit of a white border. So you don't have to get too close. And again, if you made a mistake or you don't have something you really like, you could simply cut in there and cut it away. So what you're going to do, you don't have to get too detailed though. I don't want you to feel you have to cut this right up against the crayon that you drew. I don't want you to cut into your monster at all. I just want you to go around. Whoops, sorry. I just want you to go around and leave a little bit of a white border. I just want the general kind of shape of it where you can then still see it without cutting your poor little monster, unless there's a mistake. Like I really didn't like that part, so I'm going to cut that part away. So you're going to do that by cutting around, and also make sure you're holding, as you're cutting, make sure you're holding your scissors the proper way. I know we've talked about this. Your fingers go in the bigger part, the bigger opening. Here's my scissors here. Your 3 fingers, pointer, middle, and ring finger, go in the bigger part of the scissor. And your thumb, Mr. Thumb I like to say, lives upstairs. That means you're holding your scissors up and your thumb is up. Your pinky is on the outside of the scissors. So this is the proper way. You should be holding your scissors. You're holding your paper with your thumb up as well. And that way it's easier for you to move your hand and turn. Sliding that scissor around, open and closing it as you go around to cut. And you're doing lots of turns. And again, please don't make yours look exactly like mine. I want to see what you create. I want to see what's in your imagination. This was just something I came up with very, very quickly. And I'm cutting it around now. And you have that. So now you don't need this extra part. And now I am ready to put some glue. I will be putting glue on the back of this, again, following this abstract shape and then mounting it to a background colored paper. I'll be doing the same thing with my painted one, and then we will work on the faces. Okay, so I started cutting, same thing with this one. After my paint has dried, you want to go around and you want to cut close to your monster, but leave a little bit of a white border. That way your monster stands out on your background paper. So you don't want to get too close. And again, it doesn't have to be too detailed of the exact shape. You just want to generally go around, cutting out all that extra white that we really do not need. Okay, so now once you do that, okay, you're going to push that aside. And like I said, you can have a background paper. So it could be any color that you'd like. And you are going to take your glue stick would be best. And I want you to outline, go around close to the edge of your cutout. Okay, so you want to do that first. And you want to work quickly so the glue doesn't dry. And after you go around your edges, try to get close to the edge as possible. Then you could just zigzag it in the middle or go across in order to stick it down. Like so. You're going to flip it over. And now, my suggestion to you is when you go, you could press it down, but to rub your hand over the paint isn't really going to feel good. It might get your hands a little dirty. So what I suggest you do is turn your paper over, and now you can rub nice and flat, rub the monster so it sticks down like so. And then what you're going to do, if you want to take black paint, black Sharpie marker, you can draw a face. Again, you could turn it either way. I think I said I was going to do mine this way. But what I also have is some different eyeball designs and mouths. So what I'm going to do is attach a picture at the end of this video that you could take a look and maybe copy that with, like I said, on a white piece of paper. You can draw it, cut it out, and glue it down. Or you could go and draw directly on top of this with a Sharpie marker. I'm going to attach mine and show you what it looks like all finished as I glue down my eyes and my mouth. Okay, everybody, I can't wait to see what you create and have fun with this. Take care. Bye.